everybody, my name is Steph and I'm here today to tell you all about the wonder that is Yorkshire's rapeseed oil from Wharfe Valley Farms, fantastic oil. I'm going to show you how to make a Yorkshire pudding using this stuff. Can you believe it? No, neither can I, but it tastes great. So, here's what we're going to do. First job, we've got some different sizes of moulds because Yorkshire puddings, like everybody else, comes in different shapes and sizes. So, what we're going to do is we're going to pour, I like to glug it on. Just a little bit of oil in each one, but I'm actually leaving the two centre ones free because I don't think when you make Yorkshire puddings, the two middle ones ever work out as well as they should. So I'm going to pop those in. Then we've got the big ones. These are going to be the monsters. So Yorkshire puddings with Wharfe Valley oil. We're using the traditional purely because it's one of my favourites. I've used it for years. I'm a big fan, so why not? And last one, these are the deep muffin trays. These make a really nice Yorkie. If you're cooking for a big event, you might have 5 or 6 people coming round. These are probably the ones I would go for. You should always have, when you do a Yorkshire pudding, you should always have about ½ centimetre of oil in the bottom of the well of the pudding. I'm actually going to cook these at 180. Now 180 to me is the magic number. I tend to cook a lot of things at 180 because everything just seems to come out nice and golden brown. So my oven is cranked up. Let's just check to 180. Happy with that? So I've got here some plain flour. So whatever you're doing, when you make a Yorkshire pudding, whatever you're doing, have the same size pot. So I'm actually using cups here. We're dusting off the plain flour. We want this cup to be flat with flour, which it is. Cool. And you can see I'm making quite a few because we're doing 3 different trays. Next, we're going to add our eggs. And just to show you, we crack those in. And it's the same amount of flour to eggs. Exactly. Looking good. Eggs right to the top, folks. Really nice and flush. In they go. All those eggs. And you'll see, hopefully you'll get a really nice big Yorkie puds. Now's for the bit. Well, we've got to get a bit angry. We've got to let off a bit of steam because we're bringing the eggs, the whole eggs and the plain flour together, and we don't want any lumps in there, so we're going to give it a good old whisk. Okay, what we want is a really nice shiny batter. That's what we want, okay? Now we have to add our last cupful. Whole milk. Right to the top. That's going in. So folks, we've added our eggs, our flour, and now our milk. Whisk it round together. The last thing we need to do is add some salt. I think you need about ½ a teaspoon for this amount of mix. Lots of schools of thought here. One is that you leave it overnight in the fridge to rest. I never do. I'm a bit of an impatient person. I like to crack on and get it in the oven. So my suggestion would be that we skim off the top, because if you look here, folks, you can see lots of tiny bubbles in that bowl, and we need to just skim off that scum, that foam. It's a bit like a Yorkshire Puddings cappuccino. We've got to get rid of that. Okay folks, so our batter is ready. I'm happy with that. The scum is off, and that's half of that is just pure air. Okay, so last job. Take a whisk and sieve your Yorkie into a jug. And the reason we're doing that is we want to add a little bit more air, help to incorporate a bit more air, and we're just making sure that there's no extra lumpy bits. Even though we've whisked it well, look at this. There always will be a few little bits and bats that you don't want in there. Look at that. I don't want that in there, that's not very nice. Let's keep that out of the way. But this is the good stuff. Ready to go. Our Yorkie mix is now ready, lightly seasoned, sieved. Our oven is at 180. That Wharfe Valley rapeseed oil in those little wells is piping hot, nice and smoky. That's good news. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to fill our moulds. That lovely, satisfying sizzle. I love it. Thing with this, because you've taken the oil out of the oven, you've got to work fairly speedy. Got to be on the ball really, because we want to encourage this to rise up. So I'm going to pop this back in the oven and bring out the next one. Next one in. Little bitty Yorkies. These would be fantastic for a little canapé at Christmas, or mini Yorkies stuffed with roast beef. Oh, delicious. Right, they're ready to go back in. I'm going to pop that on the low shelf because I've got 3 going on here. Right. So we're ready for our last tray to go in, and we've got some of the lovely rosemary oil here. And that's a hot tray, so we don't need to let that go hot. But we're going to pour in our Yorkie batter. But before we do, nearly forgot. Right, we've got here some rosemary. Rip off the leaves, off the stem. Just give that a quick chop with your knife. I quite like it quite rustic, especially if I'm making these at home. Give that a bit of a swirl round. They're going to go in, and we're going to end off with a rosemary flavoured Yorkshire pudding. Pop those in. Last one. So we're wanting to let those work their magic and hopefully rise up nice and lovely. Or not, as the case may be. Right.